Well, welcome to CareerForce and More for Employers, Session 3. So glad to have all of you here. CareerForce is our network of private, public, and nonprofit partners throughout Minnesota committed to helping individuals and employers both recruit or retain talent and helping individuals start and advance or change their careers. We're all committed to helping Minnesota thrive economically by building its world-class workforce. During this session, we've been going through different parts of CareerForce MN, resources, people that are aligned with CareerForce system to help you. And today we're going to be talking about Minnesota Works. Minnesota Works is the National Labor Exchange database. All states in the United States are funded by the U.S. Department of Labor to have its National Labor Exchange system. And MinnesotaWorks.net is the name of ours. Before we go over to that, I do want to point out to you, you can find more information on CareerForce MN. So CareerForceMN.com is our information page. It has all the resources, has all the links. And if you've been attending over the past 2 weeks, you've gotten to see all of the pages that we have. So to find out more about the U.S. National Labor Exchange, click for employers, find the employees you need now, and then on the second bullet point, it says the state of Minnesota's official labor exchange. Click on that, and it leads you through first registering, information about linking or syncing or indexing into the USNLX, and then some of the benefits. This is all the information that we will be covering today. So I'm going to navigate over to my coworker, Heather Anderson. She's going to run her own slides, and she's going to talk about how to use it and how to get the most out of Minnesota Works. Good morning, Heather.
Good morning. Thank you, Liz. So I will be kind of just going over what Minnesota Works is, how to use MinnesotaWorks.net. I know many of you probably already have an account, so we'll go over that part briefly and then really dive into how to post a job order and search those resumes. So let me go ahead and share my screen here with the slides. Okay, so first I kind of wanted to just talk about why MinnesotaWorks.net. A big reason why MinnesotaWorks.net is there's no cost to you. It's free. It's a free service to Minnesota employers. So zero cost for you to register for an account, post your positions, and search resumes. The next is there's a wide range of job seekers. Job seekers looking for anywhere from entry-level positions to high-level professional positions. Our staff at CareerForce are always using MinnesotaWorks.net, highly encouraging any job seekers that they're working with to register for an account to search positions on MinnesotaWorks.net. Any job seeker or anybody collecting Minnesota unemployment insurance is also required to register for an account with MinnesotaWorks.net and to post their resume. So that's a great reason, right? There's just a wide range of job seekers out there. The last one I'll touch base on is there's free indexing from the U.S. National Labor Exchange. And what that means is that your company could have all of their positions from your website directly imported onto MinnesotaWorks.net from the U.S. National Labor Exchange. It'll appear on the National Labor Exchange. It'll appear on MinnesotaWorks.net. And then if you're one of those employers who are within 25 miles of a different state within that border, it could also appear on that state's labor exchange as well. And again, that is a free service. There's a couple different options that you can use through direct employers or U.S. National Labor Exchange. If you're interested in all learning more about how indexing works, how to connect and get that free indexing, highly recommend for you to reach out to myself or the CareerForce Information Assistance Team or Liz Jennings. We'll have some contact information at the end of the presentation for you. And then I wanted to touch base on some current numbers. As of this last Monday, the 6th of November, we have 14,497 active resumes on MinnesotaWorks.net. We also have 74,124 active job postings. So it's definitely beneficial for both employer and job seekers to be able to use MinnesotaWorks.net. All right, so that first step, right? If you don't have an account already, you're gonna wanna create one. Pretty easy to do. You'll go to MinnesotaWorks.net, make sure you spell out Minnesota, and then you'll click that green employer registration button. That's how you're gonna sign up for that account. You're gonna go ahead and put in your name, email, username, all of that information, and then it's going to bring you to a little bit more of an in-depth registration form to fill out. If you do already have an account, you can always go in and click that forgot username and password feature, or call the CareerForce information and assistance team will help you get into that account. But again, if you need that account, here's that employer registration button. So the employer registration, you'll have to go through and agree to the tenants and warning notice. That's really just talking about why and how we use the data that's entered. You will have to read over and agree to the terms of use that we have put into place for using MinnesotaWorks.net. And then it's going to talk or ask you questions about your company. Anything that is marked with that red asterisk, make sure you'll have to put information in there. Some of the things we ask for, a current federal employment identification number, will kind of, we can help kind of navigate that. I know a lot of companies have multiple. So if you're not sure which one to use, one of our staff at the CareerForce Information Assistance Team will connect with you during the application process and help you navigate that. And then there's, some companies have that legal name and that DBA for the employer. We do ask that you provide both. We would like to make sure that you're providing the phone number on there is the company phone number. Email should be your employer email, not your Gmail or personal account. And then the address should be the physical location address as well. And then quickly going over that approval process, you will get a call from somebody on the CareerForce Information and Assistance team. We have 4 staff plus me on that team. So we'll call you. We do kind of go over those terms of use with you again. Those questions that we'll kind of ask, those are those 11 questions there on that slide. And then we will really just determine, is it a W-2 employment that you're hiring for? We'll check that federal employment identification number with you. And then after that, we do have to get a quick employment verification. That verification is typically a direct supervisor of the person who has submitted the application. We just call them and verify that they are an employee of the company. And that being said, too, the person who is listed as the contact on that application, we do ask that they are a W-2 employee of the company. I know a lot of times we have third parties who are wanting to help out the employer in post positions. We do allow that. We would give a third party authorization letter for you to fill out, but that application and that account should still be in the employee's name, and then we would give access to that third party to be able to use your account. And so once that is official, it can take 5 minutes as long as we're able to get a hold of everybody, then your account will be approved. And so we'll go ahead and talk about navigating the employer page. I do want to say if you have submitted an application, maybe that application hasn't been approved yet, please reach out to the CareerForce Information Assistance Team. Typically, it's usually just one thing, we weren't able to get a hold of anybody. And so we'll make sure to look up your application and get that approved for you as quickly as we can. So never hesitate to give us a call and check into the status of your application. And so now we'll go ahead and we are going to do a live demonstration of the employer account here. Move this over. I might have to stop this. I might have to reshare my screen here. I think that's where I went wrong last time. Give me 1 minute. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just kind of navigate that home page. This is that page that you'll see when you log into your employer account. Here is that welcome page, right? There's some security reminder information on there. Go ahead and you can read over that. Also, sometimes if there's things that we're highlighting, we can put that on this page as well. But here is that navigation bar. Editing account information, that's pretty self-explanatory. You can go ahead and edit information here. We do ask that you do not change the name or change it to a different employee if you're going into a different position. We just ask that if somebody is taking over your role or needs an account of their own, that they resubmit an application. We can merge those accounts so they would have access to your old account, all of the job postings that were done on your account. But we do want to go ahead and go through those terms of use with that new individual. So we ask that obviously if a name has changed, you can go ahead and update that information on your account if a phone number or address or email has changed, but we just ask that you don't switch the name over to a new person. But that is the editing the account information. Managing job orders, so we'll go into how to post a job order here in a little bit, but this is where you're going to go to manage those job orders that you're working on or that you've already posted. Maybe they have closed and you need to reopen one. So there's different categories here. Open would be actively on the website. Pending, that's something where if you were working on one and something happened or you stepped away and got logged out, it should be in the pending status. So you could go ahead and just pick back up and finish that job order. Sometimes job orders are suspended for certain reasons. Typically, you won't have much in there, but you could. And then closed job orders are ones that have just fallen off. They've ended. And that's where those would be. So any old job orders would be there. We do allow apprenticeships to be posted, so you could go ahead and create that opportunity here. Posting a veteran-friendly job order, I typically recommend if that's the route that you're going, this is where you would want to use that and post that. You do have the option to mark it as a veteran-friendly job order. Just if you go in to post a job order, you can select that, but there's one here right there that will select that it is a veteran-friendly job order for you. So by clicking that, it'll also just create, if you click next, it'll create a job ID for you. If you have one that you are wanting to use, maybe you are working with the Department of Labor to hire some foreign labor, you can enter that job order here. If you have one already. Otherwise, if you hit next, it will manually start that or create a job ID for you. This is going to look the same as if you go into post a job order. So we'll go into post a job order here in a little bit. I want to get through a couple of the other ones. Again, we can post an internship opportunity that's available for you. A volunteer position is also available for you to post. You can look at previous job postings here. We'll go into recruiting resumes online. That being said, you do have the ability to save resumes online if you're interested in connecting with somebody, or maybe you've reached out to somebody using the online recruiting, or you've sent them an email from their resume, and you want to make sure that you save that resume. This is where you would want to find those. Here's that saved searches. So I'll get into that as well. You can search resumes based on different criteria using your job posting, your job order. You can save that search so you can continue to use that same search, and any new resumes that come up the day before the next day, it'll save that search and then you'll see those new resumes in that search. You can also search by a resume ID. Each resume posted on minnesotaworks.net has a unique ID. Sometimes that is something that a job seeker will reach out to an employer and say, hey, I do have my resume on minnesotaworks.net. Here's my ID, and you can search it that way. And then here is that search for resumes feature as well. And we'll get into that. And then this link, it'll bring you right to CareerForce. I know Liz mentioned careerforcemn.com. Those sites are different, but they are both run by CareerForce, by Deed. They are overseen by the CareerForce Information and Assistance team, and they kind of speak to each other, but they are different websites. You would need different logins for those. So we'll go ahead and I want to go in depth a little bit on how to post a job order. I know that's probably where most of the questions are. So again, if you have that job ID that you need to use, you can type that in here. Otherwise, if you just hit next, it'll automatically populate a job ID for you. So each of these fields are obviously required for you to fill out these top 3. To be able to fill out that field, you just have to click on the heading right here, job location. The nice thing about the job order is it's going to automatically fill in some of that information from your account. So it'll fill in that employer name, that street location. That being said, if you're hiring for multiple locations, you can always change this. That's perfectly fine. And so again,
Heather,
go ahead.
That's one question that I often hear from employers if they're hiring for multiple locations, like an oil change facility or a fast food restaurant, or anything, that the city doesn't have to be your headquarters. It can be the location specifically that you're hiring for.
Yes, absolutely. They can have multiple locations and still use that same account. The only thing that we want to make sure, right, is that those locations are all under the same federal employment identification number. But some employers choose to have multiple accounts for each location. That's fine too. But it can be done with just one account. Yeah, this is a nice feature that it automatically populates that information. If you are working out of headquarters and that's the location that you use on all of your job postings, it'll automatically fill that in for you. So again, all the red asterisks, those are required fields. How to apply, again, click on that heading. This sometimes gets a little bit tricky for individuals. Yes, allow the job seekers to apply online for this job. Most of the time, because it defaults to do not allow job seekers to apply, this is where some of those errors come in. You want to go ahead and make sure you click yes for that. And then let's say you want them to just apply directly on your website. That's typically how employers today do their job postings. And then you just want to make sure that you have that full URL and direct link to your website here. And then you would hit done, and it would filter that and post that on the job order. You can choose multiple if you want email. Again, then you would still need to select the online portion of that email. You could do in person, you can do postal mail, fax, or telephone. Job information, here's again where you can select that it's a veteran-friendly position. Your job ID is not required. It's going to automatically filter in there for you. Job title is required. Job description is also required. You have 8,000 characters. Required skills. Preferred skills is not required. Did you have a question, Liz?
Well, job description is where Tom and I really recommend that employers put their branding and their mission statement. Lead off with, we are a, whatever company, and we value our employees. So use the job description area kind of liberally.
Yes, that's the first thing that those job seekers see on that job order. So kind of how we tell job seekers that first, top portion of your resume, that's, where you're going to sell yourself. Same thing for employers. The more information you are able to put in your job order, we find is best. Job seekers are they're looking through these with, and comparing them. And so the more information you can put on there, the better. Number of openings, this is for some of our staff. Sometimes we'll go through and just make sure some people, somehow it puts that you have 900 job openings. So just make sure you double check that. And then you have the option, right? Weekdays, or if it's a varied schedule, the days, regular temporary work, full-time, part-time, which shift, day, evening, night. And then keep in mind too that when job seekers are searching positions, they also can fill out this information. And so it will match. If somebody's looking for temporary work and you put regular, you would not necessarily show up on their search. Number of days that the job is opening, this is counted by days, which is sometimes a little bit tricky, but it'll tell you too. You can always go in here and edit it if that close date does not show up properly. And then is it a federal contracting position? You just want to mark that as well. And then here's the optional portion that you can fill out. Again, the more information that you put on here, the better. It talks about education, experience, any licensings that would be required, endorsements, if your company requires a drug test or a physical requirement, and then that salary range is on here as well with the option to indicate that it is a commission position. Once you fill out all of this information, a little button is going to show up and it says post to internet. You can click that, but just also make sure that when you go in, that this is no longer on there. You can also go back to manage job orders and it should appear under open. If you don't see it, likely what's happened is we missed that post to internet or we missed a required field. It would then be in pending. You can go in there and edit it and get that to post on the internet. But to double check that it's posted, all you have to do is go to manage job orders, select open, and it should appear. Go ahead, Liz.
We received a question about closing a job order. Like, what if, all of a sudden headquarters says, no, we can't fill that anymore. How does a person close a job order?
So they can go in and they can select. It's hard to see on this count because I don't have any in here we go. You could select this and then hit delete. I think it'll actually say close if it's in open. But if I were to delete this, then it would no longer appear here. You can edit it and you could also go into job information and change this day. But the best thing to do is to go to that when you go into select, you select it right here, and then there's the select items. There's those options right here. That's the easiest way to do it. If you're having a hard time trying to figure that out and it's just not working for you, you can always call the CareerForce Information Assistance Team and we can go in and help figure out what's going on. But the easiest way is to just hit the select button and then select what you want to happen. There is a closed option on there. All right, so that is job orders. I'm going to go in briefly to resume searches, and then we'll go back to the slideshow so I can show you a little bit more in depth on how to search using your job order. But when you go to search for resumes, there's a ton of options for you. You can search for current or former military service by selecting that. That's going to show you anybody who has said on their account that they are a veteran. It is not required that they have to, to mark that they're a veteran on their account. But if they do select that those would be the individuals that are going to come up in your search. You can search within a zip code or a county or region. If you have a job posted, there's going to be a box here that's going to ask you to select your job posting, and you can search by using that job posting, and it's going to take the keywords and match the keywords from your job posting to the keywords in the resume of the job seekers and make that connection that way. It's a great option, but I recommend to some employers who have kind of a tricky position that they're trying to hire for. They're just not coming up with a lot of luck to do both searches. You can select if there's education that you need on there. You can select these. You do not have to select that. You can select keywords such as customer service, accounting, mechanic, and it'll track those keywords and resumes and populate that in your search. Here's where you can select that full-time, part-time. Job seekers indicate that on their wants when they're creating the account, so that would match what they have indicated they're looking for as well. Same with shift, and then work type, which is regular or temporary. So that is navigating. I'm going to go back here to the slide deck to show you a little bit a picture of what that would look like when you're searching those positions, or I'm sorry, the resumes. Okay, so when you search a resume, this picture right here, that's what that's going to look like. It's going, or I'm sorry, this is the saved searches. This is what it's going to look like when you search a resume. It's going to show you a copy of their objective, their last login date. It will show you their resume ID, if they have military service or not. So this is kind of what you're going to be able to see when you're searching for those resumes. To search using your job order, this is what that is going to look like. Match resumes to job order. You're going to be able to select which job order you're searching for. Again, this is a great feature. You can do it by geographic location, but once you select this, that's typically what employers do. It's a great feature. But again, I recommend that you try both. Sometimes you see other resumes that you wouldn't previously. And then that saved resume searches, this is what that's going to look like here for you. So you'll be able to save those resumes, to go back. Maybe you're just doing a search and you're not quite ready to reach out yet. You can save that, go back into your saved resume search, and then connect with that job seeker. You have the ability to connect within MinnesotaWorks.net. You also have the ability, if the contact information is shared on the resume, it's not always shared. It's up to the job seeker what they want to share. You can reach out. We usually recommend that you reach out via email. And then just kind of talk to them about the position. I would always reference that you do have a job posted on MinnesotaWorks.net, so they can go in and look up that job directly on the website to make sure that this is somebody that they're talking to is legitimately from this company, and they do have a job posted on the website.
Someone messaged me that they were trying to print a resume and they were getting an error message. Are we able to print them?
That I don't know if it has been turned off. I would not recommend printing resumes just for data privacy, especially if that person has their contact information on there. So I wouldn't recommend that anyway. That saved resume search feature is on there. You could email them if they feel comfortable. They can email you a copy, and then you would be able to print that off. But I don't know if that is an option anymore within the system, just for data privacy reasons. We really do want to make sure that we're protecting job seekers' information the best that we can.
Thank you.
And then I know we're running late, so I wanted to go over, there are some user tutorials. If you have any other questions, those are right here at that link. But you can always connect with the CareerForce Information Assistance Team, Liz Jennings. And then again, any questions on the U.S. National Labor Exchange, we'd love to go over that information with you, talk to you about how to get that indexing done. There's free options. There's additional options that you can add on to there as well. Connect with myself or Liz Jennings on any of those questions. And then here is the CareerForce Information Assistance Team contact information. The email is careerforce@state.mn.us. And then we have that 651-259-7500 phone number. If you press option 1, you'll get to the job search assistance, or option 2 will be directly to MinnesotaWorks.net and CareerForceMN.com questions.
Thank you so much, Heather. Yeah, this is a lot of information. We could have gone another 30 minutes with all the intricacies. For all of the HR and talent acquisition people on the call, just know that this data, once it is in the US NLX, it is shared with so many other agencies that use those same data files. So LinkedIn, sometimes counties have their own job search portals, and then they get that data feed. So you really are getting more than just Minnesota's, CareerForce MN's job search. And also that job search portal that is on careerforcemn.com at the very top, that's all powered by Minnesota Works. So there are many benefits to this. And, this is just one of those things. The more effort you put into it, the more you will get out of it. And I've heard some success stories where HR folks have contacted job seekers through the Minnesota Works resumes and hired them for part-time jobs or had them come in for interviews. So we do know it works. Yes, thank you to all who are feeding me questions behind the scenes. I think for some of the more detailed questions, please contact CareerForce at state.mn.us, and then tell them you have a question about your Minnesota Works account, and then they'll get those questions answered. So come back next week for session 4. We're going to be talking about inclusion and ways to make job fairs and hiring welcoming to people with disabilities or new Americans, English language learners. So it's going to be a very interesting conversation. Take care. See you next week.